During the Korean War, Lieutenant Tom Hundner is a Navy aviator who was sent to Rhode Island. He enters the locker area and hears a loud ruckus from the restroom. Ensign Jesse Brown enters and inquires whether he is the transfer. Hundner meets the other member of Fighters Squadron 32, Carl Morhin, Bo Lavery, Matty Goody, and Bill Conin, who are led by Lieutenant Commander Dick Savoli, who reveals that Stalin and the Soviets have tested their own bomb and it won't be long before they strap it to a bomber. Savoli delegated Brown to Hundner. Brown flies without regard for danger in the air. He's always in command, but not in the way you expect. On their way home, they take a detour. Hundner stays with him because a wingman never abandons his partner. Hundner is now accustomed to flying. Brown even nosedive in a residential area, and if you look closely, you notice a wonderful young lady, Daisy Brown, standing in her front yard waving at them as they pull up at the last second. Hundner returns to the locker room and asks Brown what was up with that. Brown responds that the only way to learn about your wingman is out 2,000 feet. Hundner invites Brown to a beer to get to know him better, but he rejects. He does not consume alcohol. Savoli has invited the group to his place for clams. Hundner informs Lavery that he joined the Navy immediately after hearing about the Pearl Harbor. 1 month after the war ended, he graduated. I mean, did you ever think you'd be in a squadron with a colored aviator? Lavery adds. Hundner avoids the question by turning to the food. Brown drives himself home. He smiles at a neighbor who is not pleased to see him. He creeps inside, scaring his wife, Daisy, who is painting the hallway walls. Palm, their 3-year-old daughter, and they enjoy a joyful, loving connection. Savoli gives the team a briefing. A recon plane washed up on the beach, complete with bullet holes. The squad will now prepare to face the Russian in a new sort of jet known as the Window Maker. One of the most powerful things this pilot will fly behind is the engine. She'll spin you over if you use too much throttle. Chart is sufficient to flip it home. The pilot must use caution. Hundner spots Brown on the side of the road with automobile issue on his way home. He offers to drive him home. Hundner informs him that he felt called to adventure and did not want to take over his father's food store. Brown had always desired to fly, and he wanted to fly with the greatest pilots, so he joined the Navy. Daisy offers Hundner a drink in Brown's house, but Brown rejects because Hundner must have plans. Hundner heeds to the warning and politely refuses the offer. Daisy encourages Brown to be courteous, but Brown is unaware of Hundner's existence. The pilot personally inspects the window makers. They all go through exercises to become acclimated to piloting the new jets. They learn that they are being sent out. Daisy improves Brown's self-esteem before he leaves the house. Brown hides in the restroom stall the next day. He stares at himself in the mirror until everyone else in the locker room has left and makes repeated derogatory remarks about himself. Hundner had boarded his jet. Everyone on the squad is watching him touch down. He does it effortlessly. Brown is the next to go. All of the black crewmen aboard the ship come up to check what's going on. Brown is flying at an excessive altitude. Hundner claims he needs to raise his brow. Brown misses the carrier as the flagman helps him up. He turns around and flees the strain. He successfully lands the plane. Everyone completed their carrier qualifications, and Hundner received flawless marks. They are leaving tomorrow, and Savoli advises them to get their affairs in order. Hundner drives Brown home, and this time Brown invites him inside. Daisy gives Hundner a drink and requests that he be present for Brown. Brown spends his evening at the beach with his family. The squad races along the corridor, up the stairs, and to their planes the next day aboard the ship. But it's only a drill, and Savoli thinks they need to improve. The crew returns to their lodgings, but Brown is requested to talk with Life magazine for a good article to alleviate public concern about another possible conflict. Brown wants to be regarded like any other pilot, but the interviewer wants the colored perspective. Savoli comes to his aid and drags Brown back to work. One of the army soldiers below decks inquires if Brown also juggles. Hundner confronts the man, but Brown orders the pilots to be quiet. Brown and Hundner will discuss it later. Hundner wanted to punish the man, but Brown argues it's better this way. Savoli need a volunteer to complete a work that no one wants to accomplish. Hundner helps us enjoy Brown nodding Morin into it, and Hundner agrees. Morin completes the duties on board the plane, but is unable to land. The plane plummets into the sea. Everyone is upset by Morin's death, but Brown expresses his displeasure with Udner's statement regarding what Morning should or could have done. Udner maintains that the pilot will not perish if they follow orders. Warren is later toasted by the pilots. Brown informs Udner at the academy when it's just him and him because they didn't think a black guy could swim. They made him do his test 10 times, stuck pebbles in his flying suit, submerged him, then added ice to his water. They didn't care whether he drowned in that pool. But Brown always got it out alive. He'll be dead if he obeyed what everyone urged him to do. That's what he was attempting to install in Morin. They arrive at Cannes. The pilots go ashore to explore. Brown enters the store for Daisy's gift and encounters a gathering of sailors. He goes to find out what's going on, and it's actress Elizabeth Taylor. One of the sailors makes a despairing remark about not being with Brown. Later that night, Elizabeth Taylor invites Brown to a casino party. The pilot arrives but are refused entry to the French casino. But when Brown begins speaking French, they hesitantly let him in. They thank Elizabeth and move on after dancing and drinking. Udner notices a lovely woman and approaches her with a magic performance. When the army troops from the carrier arrive, a fight breaks out because the man thought he had a shot with Elizabeth back at the casino and Brown ruined it for him. Savoli gives the team a briefing. The North Koreans have seized control of Seoul. If they seize the whole of the southern peninsula, they may be able to take Japan and America will be unable to control communism. The ship departs towards Korea. There might already be 100,000 Chinese in North Korea. The aim is to destroy 2 bridges across a large river along the border in order to prevent the Chinese from putting in additional soldiers. Savoli is flying with the team this time.
So, I will lead the fight in 32. We will take out the anti-aircraft in Sinuiju City.
Udner, on the other hand, confirms that Savoli's plane has a technical problem with his landing gear and transmits the command to him. They fly above and attack by hostile fire. They are unable to totally demolish the bridges, but Brown defies instructions and returns to complete the job. The army is presently on the ground in Korea, freezing their behinds off and waiting for the Chinese to assault. They do, and it's a lopsided battle. Udner gives Savoli his mission report. He detailed exactly what occurred. Brown confronts him about it, stating that discipline for Brown is not the same as discipline for everybody else. Udner recognizes this and instructs the crew to write their account in order to clear Brown. Udner walks in on Brown, repeating to himself in the mirror every insult he'll ever received. Udner informs him that he persuaded the other guy to testify that the mission was complex and that Brown did the right thing. But Brown understands that a piece of paper will not assist him. Udner asks what he wants him to do, to which Brown responds, "Just be my wingman. Get in the dang water. Forget the life-saving." Brown enjoys some fresh air on deck. He's accompanied by a member of the black crew. He informs Brown that they all heard he was doing some fantastic flying the other day and wanted to let him know. They all chipped together to buy him a watch in Cannes. On the reverse is engraved "Above all others." This gesture has an impact on Brown. On the runway, Brown bumps across an old acquaintance he refers to as Alabama. Alabama is a member of the search and rescue team. Daisy is the recipient of a letter from Brown. He concealed her birthday present and left clues to help her discover it. Pam's wardrobe has the present, earrings. He signs off with "Lovingly and completely yours. I'll always adore you." Savoli and his colleagues have been briefed. The army is battling an unimaginable agony. There are 6 Chinese lurking in the bushes for every Marine. It gets down to minus 30 degrees at night. The lads are clinging to life by their fingernails and air support would be invaluable. But this is a risky assignment. When the pilots arrive, the Marines pray and ultimately move their vantage position on the ground. They scream at them, but after they depart, Udner finds Brown's jet is leaking fuel. Brown claims it's oil. He has to land the jet quickly because he won't be around for long. Savoli summons search and rescue. Brown fires all his missiles so they don't wind up in the hands of the adversary. Brown lands with force. Udner is unable to see him move. To be with Brown, he intends to crash his own jet.
I'm gonna go get Jesse.
The other pilots try to persuade him out of it, but after unleashing his missile, it crashes his jet. He dashes over to Brown, who is stuck between his seat and the control panel. Both men attempt to fail to pull it off him. Savoli's mayday call is answered by search and rescue, but it's too dark to land. Alabama overhears and informs them that he's on his way. Udner lets Brown his beanie cap to keep him warm in the bitter weather. Hodner uses snow to put out the fire on Brown's engine. When Alabama comes, Brown is still trapped. They try to extricate him, but he remains stuck. Brown grows more frail and urges Hodner to reassure Daisy that he will always love her. Hodner begins hammering the aircraft with all his strength in an attempt to break Brown, but stops when he learns Brown had died. They go. Hodner begs his commander to allow him to return for Brown's body, but they refuse. Brown's corpse was never found. Hodner is returned to the carrier and examined by the doctor. Savoli leads the other pilot on a farewell trip to Brown. Daisy receives a War Department letter. She is overtaken with emotion. Daisy travels to Washington, where President Tuma bestows the Medal of Honor on Jesse Brown and Tom Hodner. Hodner tells Daisy after the ceremony that he is terrified about this day. Daisy expresses her gratitude for what he has done. Hodner claims Brown's final words to her were, "Just tell Daisy I love her." Hodner apologizes for failing to save him. Daisy claims that was not his responsibility. He was there for him because she asked him to. The Hodner and Brown families stayed close throughout the remainder of their lives, as did their descendants. The film concludes with Brown reading his final letter to Daisy, signing off with "Your devoted husband, lovingly and completely yours, JC."